Welcome to the Lineman Lounge, hosted by Mike and Evo, calling their shots and being outlandish.
Breaking news from the Lineman Lounge. My fantasy football team just took a huge fucking hit. And that also makes it even more likely that the Raiders are going to beat the Ravens on Monday night. Le'Veon Bell is about to be your starter. Latavius Murray is going to go there as well. Jesus, fuck my ass.
Get ready for the thickest podcast in the game. Coming to you from Hangar 6, where sleeves are optional. Strap in. The show starts right now.
¿Cómo están, bitches? It's Friday. Gotta get in on Friday.
Nope, stop. We gotta stop the show.
No, we're not doing that.
We gotta stop.
Welcome to the Lineman Lounge, hosted by Mike and Evo, calling their shots and being outlandish.
All right, we're back.
There we go. All right, here we go. Yeah, we're not doing the Friday song. However, we are here on a Friday night. I'm very excited to be here. Evo, the man to my right, appreciate you being here. I know you were supposed to be working. Took a little time. I'm not going to have any other time this weekend. I have got a busy fucking weekend. I got Browns game tomorrow. I'm working that. Sunday, we got Graydon wrestling tournament. Then we are driving down to Middle Ohio. We're going to meet up with the Coopers, say hello to our good friends, spend some time with them. And then we'll be coming back after that. So we don't have time for a Sunday show, no Saturday show. So we are here on a fucking beautiful Friday night, and I am ready to crack a beer.
Yep, I got the high noon going. And I mean, realistically, we kind of got to do the show today because while the Thursday night game, you know, it's a weekly thing that happens and we can't just do a one-off show all the time for that. We got Saturday football, baby. We got 3 games tomorrow.
We got a lot of Saturday football. Like, I want to say last year did they have a 3-game Saturday, or was it just a one-off every once in a while? They would flex one game.
I feel like it was definitely that last quarter of the season, and it was like one game.
Yeah, it was a one-off. It wasn't all the time. It wasn't like a whole, hey, here's another fucking Thanksgiving's days like worth of football on a Saturday, you know, right as bowl games are starting to pop up, and all of that shit. But I'm pumped. I'm going to be working the game. It's going to be cold as fuck, which I'm not excited about. Whether I don't know that will be a factor for that game. It's going to be cold. Hopefully it won't be rainy. Potential of snow, but I can tell you right now, it's cold as fuck in Ohio. I am bundled up. I am sleeved, hoodie, beanie, cold as shit. Shout out Cavs. This beanie is awesome, by the way. But yeah, I'm excited for the weekend. Graydon has done a really good job of wrestling. He ran into somebody who actually knows how to wrestle for once, though. Lost that match, and then he was able to go and wrestle a kid. Similar experience level, and he was able to get a win there. We were kind of talking before the show. Graydon is kind of in a position where he's a pretty good athlete. He is a big boy. So when he is going against somebody typically his size, that is his skill level, he's going to have a little bit of advantage. He's going to probably be a little bit stronger than the kids he runs into. But he was facing a kid 12 years old, been wrestling for like 3 or 4 years. And it was very evident that the kid knew how to wrestle. And Graydon was just kind of very much still learning the ropes of what wrestling is, learning technique. And then it was not pretty. Ended in a pin in the first. But hey, bounced back, got a win in the second, and then that was it for the day. That was last weekend. So,
all right, hey,
that's what my week's been going on. I just got done with finals too, so I am fucking jacked up. I am amped up. I got great grades. So, Evo, how has your weekend been? I mean, we haven't talked since the last weekend. How was the week? No students. You guys are on coast mode for a little while. Any plans for the weekend?
Yeah, so finished up a little bit of student training down here for the work week last night, and it's been a pretty laid back time so far because we are into holiday exodus for the military. So it's a couple weeks of just basically downtime I'm gonna have to come up with menial things to fill my time, which
some
I'm sure I can do. Yeah. But other than that, it's a nice balmy 45 degrees here. So we're, out in our swimsuits and everything still, unlike you up there in Cleveland. Yeah, it's been good, man. Ready to start the weekend. And I was just telling the old lady, I don't know what I'm going to do this weekend. I mean, she works, so I'm just going to sit home and watch football on Saturday and watch football on Sunday, and I don't know, pound my putt or something.
Yeah, I figured that was going to be the end result. There is what you're going to watch football and just fucking beat it like it owes you money.
I guess, I don't know, but yeah, I'm looking forward to kind of a relaxing weekend and hopefully a relaxing next couple of weeks. Kind of get some R&R for the holidays.
Yeah, we need a break. We're not fucking getting one though anytime soon. So I am done with school. We are not sending the girls to daycare. We're going to save some money there. However, we are supposed to close on our new house on the 23rd of December. So we're going to try to move in like a fucking day so we can try to give the kids a Christmas. It's chaos. I'm ready to just chill the fuck out. School's done, but we still got a little ways to go. However, every week I get to come in here. I get to bullshit with you and break down these fucking games. And I'm ready to kind of start diving into the world of sports. If you got nothing else that you want to talk before we kind of start getting into everything.
No, I'm ready to go, man. I've got like I showed you beforehand, I got my notes ready for the games. We're ready to go. Got the high noon ready, so I'm ready to rock.
All right, let's fucking do this. All right, so we're gonna start real quick. Basketball. I don't really have any news other than fucking go Cavs. Right now they're down by 2, playing the Pacers. I just want to say shout out Cavs. You guys are fucking awesome. I got to go do the scholarship thing there. That's when I got this super sick beanie. But they are 3rd place in their conference right now. Keep rolling. And now we're done with basketball. Let's hop over to Major League Baseball, though, because there was some additional news from the last time that we spoke. We talked about some massive deals that happened. The Aaron Judge deal gets done. We've had some more deals that have come through since then. One kind of big name that popped off the list, ton of money, a guy that you are familiar with, Carlos Correa goes to the Giants on a 13-year, $350 million contract. That is a lot of money. That is a lot of years for a guy that did not have a great year last year, and then also plays at a position where it is tough to transition to other spots as you get older and the range deteriorates at shortstop. Now, right now, he's a great fielder, but 13 years is a asinine long time to sign a shortstop unless you're signing him when he's fucking 21.
Yeah, and he's 28, and he's from Puerto Rico, so you don't know if he's actually 28. He might be 35. So that's going to put him well into his 40s there, which is, again, that's pretty out there for a shortstop in baseball.
Yeah.
And we talked about this before the show. I could give a fuck, as far as I'm concerned. They got fleeced for signing him because I'm sure, he's a good shortstop. He's not that good. He's not worth that sort of time.
Not
that
13
sort of
year
money.
350.
And with the Twins, he provided minimal uplift on a team that, a good player is going to show up and you're going to see it. There's minimal uplift. So honestly, the Twins were still in the running trying to bring him back, but at that sort of a number, I'm very happy that we didn't.
Absolutely. Like if my team was talking about bringing in Carlos Correa for this long, as a GM, I got to be like, no, we're fucking out on this. Like, there's no way. I don't care what my owner wants. Like, I am not the guy. I'm not the GM that's taking the fall for making this fucking deal because the last 6-7 years of this deal are going to be terrible. Like, you're not going to be able to justify the production. I mean, like I said, Correa is a great player. He's been really good, but just age catches up with everybody. And playing shortstop, like, you don't see guys do it for that fucking long, especially nowadays. So that was insane to me. Other news, Noah Syndergaard goes to the Dodgers. Some other kind of news that is relevant to your team. You guys go out, sign Joey Gallo, 1-year deal. He's going to hit some home runs for you. He's going to strike out probably 200 fucking times, though. A lot of swing and missing him, but if he connects with one, he is putting that bitch in the third deck over there at Target Field.
Yeah, that's. I'm glad that we're doing a little bit of something. We haven't done a whole lot this year. It's probably going to be a disappointing season for us. I believe we've gone out and signed a catcher, and now Gallo. It's not going to be putting butts in seats as far as I'm concerned. But we've always had a good minor league system and good at developing guys. We just give up on them too quick and ship them out, or don't pay for them when they do actually develop into the major league player.
Time for that contract.
Yeah. So it's a love-hate relationship with me and the Twins, as is pretty normal. But at least they're doing something. So
I understand. So news for my team, we signed a catcher. We let both of our guys go. We get Mike Zunino. This is not a move that I love. I think there's a lot of swing and miss in Zunino's swing, but also a lot of home run potential. He's not as good behind the plate, though, as Hedges was. And we got Bo Naylor coming up, working through the system. I would like to see Bo Naylor get a chance to become the primary backstop back there, but I think it's going to be another year away before we get to do any of that. So, I mean, that's really what we got. We talked about the Josh Bell signing last week as well. I am pumped for Josh Bell, not so much Zunino, but I mean, we're still got more guys. There's potentially two? I think there's like one or two more big name free agents that are still out there. Correa was the last major domino to fall. So we'll start seeing some of these more like Andrew Benintendi type numbers where you're getting your 5-year, $75 million deals. Good players, all-stars, but maybe not breaking the bank like we are going to see, like we saw with Correa and some of those other guys. But
yeah, honestly, I'm surprised Correa got as much as he did. That could be considered in one of those larger deals. I expected him to be definitely a tier or two down from that. So
yeah, I'm paying Xander Bogaerts more than I'm paying Carlos Correa. I'm paying, I think Trey Turner did get more money. Maybe. If Trey Turner didn't get more money, I'm paying Trey Turner more money than I'm paying Carlos Correa. I mean, I like Correa. I like his defense. I like his bat. He has had injury issues in the past as well. And that worries me that those things will catch up. And 13 years is way too long. I don't understand the baseball contract thing. Like, we're signing guys through their 40-year. Like, there are very few guys that are making it that fucking long nowadays.
I mean, you and I are both in our 30s. This is talking about a guy who's not in his 30s yet, and he will be with that team, barring trade or being cut or something like that, into his 40s.
Yeah, that's fucking wild, man. Like,
it's crazy to think about. Like, oh, I'm just signing away this decade in my life. But I mean, good for him. I mean, he's getting money.
It's fucking guaranteed money. Baseball contracts are damn near always guaranteed. So good on Correa. Get your fucking bag, bro. Enjoy it. San Francisco, I'm sure it will be a fun city to go spend all that money in, other than paying the fucking taxes, because that is going to hurt. Taxes on $350 million in California is not going to be fun.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, maybe Daniela Rodriguez played into this a little bit, Miss Texas, his wife. So maybe she wanted to go out to California and be closer to like LA or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, but fucking LA is a long ways away from San Francisco. San Francisco is like the north part of the state.
Not that north.
At least halfway up.
I mean, it's a long.
We're gonna have to get our crack research team on the geography of fucking California real quick.
Oh, God. San Francisco is midway, and LA is probably the bottom quarter. Yeah, or at the quarter mark. It is a long
ways
state.
Up there. That's a long.
He can pay for helicopter flights, and hopefully they don't get COVID.
Oh no, we didn't. Fuck it.
Yeah,
it's been long enough. All right. I mean, for some people, probably others. Fuck them. All right, are we ready to start talking about football? Because we got one game to recap that was great. It was not as good as the score would indicate, but there we saw some really, really good things on that Thursday night football game. So the Niners go out, they take care of business. Now, when we were doing our analysis, I was like, this game could be a little bit closer than we're expecting just because of some injuries. And I thought saw a little overusage of a CMC, and guys started to wear down towards the end, allows Seattle to score a late touchdown. But we were kind of texting back and forth. What were you seeing from this 49ers team that just fucking jumped off the screen to you? Because I know what I saw, and it was really impressive. And we started kind of thinking maybe the Niners are actually the best team in the NFC.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at right now. And if Joe Rockstar is still listening, I know he said he had 30% battery and he's in a 3-hour layover in Atlanta right now. He went down to Orlando to get Brazilian butt lift. So the 49ers looked really good yesterday. They have been looking really good, particularly on defense. That defense for this second half of the year has looked phenomenal. Like, easily the best defense, and statistically, as I kind of put in the stats yesterday that we posted up on the Facebook page, they are basically top of the league in defense. And that sort of a defense means that you can have a more mediocre offense and still keeping games and stuff like that. But that's the thing with this with the offense, is that it's not mediocre. It is.
This is the best defense in football. This is the best defense
mediocre
right now.
Yeah, that offense is maybe mediocre.
Maybe
at quarterback. Maybe, but that was like with Jimmy G. Now I'm kind of out on Trey Lance, but Jimmy G is that game manager type. Came up under Belichick, watching Tom Brady do it, where Tom Brady was unspectacular in many ways and spectacular just when he needed to be. But they were always surrounded by a solid defense. That's the type of quarterback Jimmy G is. He's that game manager. He goes out and gets you wins. But that offense just has stars at all the positions. You've got Kittle, you've got Ayuk and Debo, you've got CMC now, you've got Trent Williams in a star-studded offensive line. Everyone around the quarterback position is good. And so when you put someone like a Brock Purdy in, it allows them to be really successful. I don't think Tom Brady and Brock Purdy should be talked about in the same light, at least not yet. And I know that was the thing last week when the 49ers went out and beat Tom Brady.
Purdy goes and beats Tom Brady. Yeah,
but Purdy he's looked really good. He looks like a 7th round pick. He looks like a rookie for sure.
He's raw. I think he's raw at the NFL level. He needs a lot of reps.
He's got that weird kind of sidearm throwing motion, which throws me off watching it. But for the most part, he's making good decisions. He's accurate.
He made one bad decision last night, but it did not end up costing him because safety does not end up picking it.
Yep. But I mean, he's a game manager plus. And we talked about this too. If you put a different quarterback in there that is more along the lines of an elite level, it might end up becoming a detriment. Like, you might see the offense boom some, but that quarterback might not really fit with the system as well as they should. I think Purdy he feels more like a perfect fit for this situation. Like, Jimmy was a good fit. Purdy almost feels more like a perfect fit because now he gets to develop under Shanahan in this system. He's already clicking with it. The couple things that we need to see from him still, because we've seen that he's got the arm talent. We've seen that he can be mobile, more mobile than Jimmy. And he can hit all the weapons that are out there. He needs to be able to go on the road in a hostile environment, which he did last night. Road, hostile environment, big time rival, and he still looked great.
Yep.
Now the only thing I need to see from him for the eye test to be really on board with this.
I need a 2-minute drive where you have to score points.
Yeah, I need to see them down late and him leading a drive to get those points and get a win. That's all I need to see before I'm willing to sign off on him being the next full-time quarterback of the 49ers team. I really like this 49ers team. They excite me. They do. And for Joe Rockstar, he's calling him Big Cock Brock. I'm really excited by what he could be. I think that he can be that top 15 type quarterback in the league in that offense with that sort of talent around him. You put him on the Texans, he probably will look better than Davis Mills, but maybe not a lot better.
But not that much better, yeah.
He has in that offense, excellent squad it's around. A good hit. It's a good hit, a good fit. It is kind of like Brady early on in his career. He was a good fit for that Belichick system, and then magic happened from there. We'll see if that can happen with them because, look, the Eagles right now are the class of the NFC. I know there's arguments for Dallas or whoever, but
not on Dallas.
Not after last week. And we kind of called that, that they might be sleeping a bit on the Texans, but I digress. I'm definitely, after last night, leaning towards the 49ers being the best team in the NFC, slightly edging out the Eagles. I know we're not going to get to see that game before the playoffs, but that would be a pretty fantastic playoff game to see the 49ers and the Eagles go at it.
I think we will see that eventually. I don't know if any other two teams, I mean, we can talk about the Cowboys, but I don't know if the Cowboys are that good and they could beat a San Francisco or a Philadelphia team. I don't think that they're that kind of team. That 49ers defense is insane. Their linebackers pursue better than any group of linebackers I think I've ever watched. With maybe the exception of, was that the 02 Ravens, Ray Lewis? Like, they play linebacker so fucking well and so violent. Like, Dre Greenlaw is all over the place, causing fumbles. I am super, super jealous of their linebacker play and their front four. Their entire front seven is special. We talked about that last night, texting back and forth. Brock Purdy, I think, has some really good qualities. The fact that he can escape the pocket is really nice for the Shanahan offense. I think it can help create an extra weapon. He needs a lot more reps, though. Like, there are times where, he throws a bad ball every once in a while. He's not going to be pinpoint accurate yet.
I don't want to switch his throwing motion. It's just very weird to me right now, and it could possibly cause some issues. But I said it last night. I don't want to say he looks stiff, but it looks like he doesn't have the fluidity that you would normally see from a starting quarterback. Like, on some of the, even just handoffs and stuff, he almost looks a little bit more robotic because it doesn't feel like he's completely immersed in the offense yet or starting those big games. But that'll come with time. And if he's able to get beyond that already, despite having that in his game, and still look as good as he does, he's got a pretty bright future ahead of him.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I was pulling for 2 CMC touchdowns last night. I did not get them. It was actually going to hurt me in fantasy, but help me in the bank account. But I will take CMC not getting 2 there. We got massive fantasy matchups this week. I'm going against our buddy Nick Peterson, and beat him last week to secure my spot in the playoffs. And we got a rematch this week. I like my chances right now.
There's a lot of 7-7 teams there in our league.
Oh, yes.
There's a couple 7-7 teams in the playoffs and a couple 7-7 teams out of the playoffs.
I scored enough points and I won my division that I was not worried about that. Had I lost, though, that would have been a big problem. So get in, I get a rematch. I think I like my chances right now. My individual defensive player, and my tight end scored 1 less point than CMC and DK Metcalf.
For Joe Rockstar, who's your defensive player? Or you don't know?
Where are you guys talking about right now?
Don't you have Dre Greenlaw?
I do.
Yeah.
I said that.
Yeah, just a shout out for Joe Rockstar.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Greenlaw was fucking fantastic for me. He got, I think 10 tackles, forced fumble, scored me 13, 14 points, some shit like that. It was great. But outside of, losing some money, being close in fantasy, we had some picks that we went over last week. Evo continues to roll. I am now down, not doing great 2 weeks in a row. So we're going to try to fix that this week for me. You're either hot or you're due. I'm fucking due.
Well, then why has Daddy been hot all year?
Yeah, well, you're hot or you're due. It's not one or the other. I mean, it's both, right?
All year, though. I'm scorching over here.
Yeah, you're looking pretty good right now. Oh, let me fucking scroll up on this thing. All right. So I go, nope, now you can't. Now I'm too far zoomed in. What is going on with the technology today? Can we see all of the things now?
I just tried to click on the screen like I was adjusting your Excel.
Nice. Well done. All right. So I went 5-8. That takes me to 110, 95, and 3 on the year. Evo goes 8-5, 123, 83, and 2. Some of these I felt like were bad beats. The fucking Chiefs should have covered. There's absolutely no reason that they should have been up 21 points and then allowed them to claw their way back in with an offense that is just absolutely stagnant at all times. It pisses me off. And we talked about it on the show. You're going to take the Chiefs to cover, the team that perpetually doesn't cover. Yep. They had the cover the whole fucking way until right at the end. So that kind of stuck. That was, in my opinion, a bad beat. Kyler going down really changed the way that Cardinals-Patriots game could have gone. Kyler goes down, non-contact injury. It has been confirmed. He goes down with the ACL.
Yeah,
we have been critical. We've been critical of Kyler this year. But this is not something we ever want to see happen to a player get injured, especially non-contact injury. Those typically end up being your worst type of injuries. Almost certainly it's an ACL when you see a knee buckle like that. I wish him a speedy recovery.
We don't like seeing guys get injured.
No.
Coming from someone who tore their PCL playing football and broke their leg playing football, it ain't fun. I don't wish that on anyone. But the good news is that ACLs are recovering generally fast compared to what they were 5-10 years ago. I mean, you're seeing guys come back relatively quick. We could see Kyler by the first regular season game of next year, maybe, unless there's a big shuffle up there in Arizona, I guess.
So that is a possibility. I don't think we'll see that with Kyler now, especially since he's going to miss the rest of the year. I do think that we will see a shuffle at the head coaching position, and they will try to find somebody who they can bring in and will work well with Kyler.
And there's already
especially considering they
just transition with Keim.
Yeah, that the whole Arizona situation is going to be very in flux all fucking year, all throughout the offseason. Kyler is the only one that's guaranteed to come back because he signed such a massive goddamn contract.
$20 is $20. I just got a shout out. Thank you for remembering my name from south of the border. El Rampe Toto is en fuego. Mama Carlisle, not Mama Carlisle, but wife Carlisle.
Producer Amber.
It is
it's fucking snowing outside. It's fucking cold, man. I know. Like it was so goddamn cold today.
And then we got 20 also saying that his ACL is healed great. He's back on top of his game. Now, what I was going to get at there is...
Did you just go to the gym and do some leg lifts, Dave? Is that what happened? Just do some leg extensions and it'll heal up?
Yeah.
Fucking military doctors.
But like we were saying, we don't want to get on Kyler. You know, we don't wish the injury on him.
No.
But on the other side of the coin, there is he's got a lot of time to play Call of Duty right now. He's already got the fat face. I said that I think he's going to balloon up.
That's very possible.
I think he might balloon up a little bit. Now, a guy of his age with his testosterone levels and all that going for him, he could probably get back in shape pretty quick. But we don't want to see a Jamarcus Russell where the guy just is fucking a tank, especially not as his.
It wouldn't be a Jamarcus Russell. If he comes back fat, he's going to look like goddamn Maurice Jones-Drew.
Yeah.
No disrespect to Maurice Jones-Drew.
Now.
Yeah, no disrespect to Maurice Jones-Drew. He was a stud in his prime. But, yeah, that's where that could happen. Speaking of Call of Duty, 2XP weekend, I was actually crushing some Call of Duty earlier. Did not run into Kyler, though, so...
I've not played since our boy 20 has dropped offline for a little bit while he's taking care of work things. So I want to sometime here in the near future, maybe this weekend since I got a little bit of free time. But before we move on into our into all the games for this weekend, real quick, that is a 59% hit rate for me, a 52% hit rate for you. So not too bad. We are getting those right pretty close, and that's not counting the ties. So overall we've been doing pretty good. I mean,
we're over 50%.
It's not a problem.
Yeah, you're doing great. You'd be making quite a bit of money.
We got to get those numbers up a little bit for you.
Yeah, I gotta get some good picks this week. Got off to a good start with the Niners there, -3.5. I'm glad that they didn't get a backdoor cover there late. I was worried. The 49ers were getting a little worn out. Injuries are catching up with them a little bit. But now they were on a short week. Now they're going to have some extra rest. That's going to help that team regroup. That's great late in the season to have that little extra rest. 10 game. That's going to be big for that team.
And not only that, so the 49ers, they have this extra rest this week. but now they only have 3 weeks left in the season. They have locked up the NFC West. They have the Commanders, Raiders, and Cardinals left. Raiders and Cardinals, they should win those games. Commanders is a better looking team. That'll be a tougher one, but they should win that game as well, in my opinion. I think that it's time for them where they can seriously consider starting to rest players, especially depending on what happens with the rest of the Cowboys season. Because I don't know that anyone's catching the Eagles at this point with the lead that they have. But if they're looking for the 2 spot right now, the Vikings are up there, Cowboys are up there. Those are the 2 teams to beat. I think with the Vikings that they could definitely pass us, and the Cowboys, depending on how they play going forward here, especially after that weird Texans game last week, they could definitely end up getting above the Cowboys. So the 2 spot is still in play, securing home field basically through the playoffs until possibly the NFC Championship game is on the line for San Francisco. So depending on how the other teams are playing, I think it wouldn't be a bad idea to start resting some of those players and get healthy, especially on defense.
And I don't disagree with you. They just locked up their division. They're guaranteed their spot in now. If you don't think that you can catch the Eagles, or if the Eagles lock that up, now we're talking about starting to rest guys. Unless you really, really need that 2 seed, so you don't have to go to Philly. I guess not Philly. Go to you guys. Go to Minnesota. That's the only reason that you'd worry about that.
Yeah.
So.
But all right, are you ready to get kicked off into some of these games?
Hell yeah, let's do this.
All right. Now, normally we talk about the Vikings and the Browns at the end of the show. Do you want to go ahead, since they're both playing tomorrow? We'll just get them kicked off here out of the way.
Yeah, I think we should, because they're the first 2 games happening this weekend. So let's go ahead and start with our teams. Your team is up first. You guys are the 1:00 game. We are the 4:30. So we'll start with the Vikings game.
All right. So yeah, Colts coming into Minneapolis playing the 10-3 Vikings. The line currently, according to Caesars and ESPN, is Minnesota -3.5, over under of 47.5. For me, this was, a rough week last week going against the Lions, who they've been playing great. Their offense has been outstanding. We'll get into a little bit more of their quarterback play when we talk about the Lions specifically, but they definitely outpaced us. Looked really good on offense, and our defense has been the crux this entire year. Whether it's lack of pressure that we're getting despite having good rush ends, or that cornerback play. And there's been continual talks about, do we start to look at Donatel and should he really be here? We've got, our assistant head coach who could step in pretty easily and take over as D coordinator. We've got taller cornerbacks, which would match up better if they were schemed differently. I'm not a huge Donatel fan. I was skeptical of the 3-4 switch when we traditionally ran a 4-3. Even though it is definitely more of a hybrid, but I just don't like how he's coaching the defensive backs as well. And maybe it's because I've been watching this Vikings team with Mike Zimmer, who's a defensive back guru, for the past close to a decade, and I'm used to a better cornerback play, even with lesser players out there getting better play out of them. But we got to figure that out if we want to make any sort of run in the playoffs. 10-3, it feels great to be 10-3, but it doesn't feel like we're 10-3 because it's all been close matchups. The Vikings are the first team ever in the NFL with 10 or more wins and a negative point differential through 13 games. That goes to show you that we get our wins
winning the close games.
We get our wins by small margins, and in a couple of games we've gotten our ass kicked. All right, and that's versus the Eagles, versus Dallas, and now versus the Lions, who are quickly ascending. They technically still have a shot at getting into the playoffs. For them to win the division, we have to lose out and they have to win out, which is definitely possible. Unlikely, but they could definitely get in as a wild card.
Yeah, I think I like their chances better than I like Green Bay's chances.
Oh, absolutely. Green Bay's fucking out of the picture. Don't even mention them.
Not technically. They're not technically out of the picture.
They are basically out of the
They have like a 1.7% chance.
Yeah.
Listen, Aaron Rodgers and his ayahuasca are going to fucking trip their balls right into the playoffs. That's not happening.
Yeah. But if the Vikings do win this weekend or Detroit loses, we will have the NFC North locked up. Now, Indianapolis, they've lost 3 straight since winning in Jeff Saturday's debut. So maybe that kind of sheen has worn off a little bit.
Emotional lift. Okay, we actually do suck.
Yeah. This would be the first ever win or defeat, I guess, of a head coach whose name is the same as the day that they played on. I had to post it because it is
the stupidest stat.
But yeah, Minnesota, they've been allowing the most points per game in the NFL over the past 5 games at 30.4 points, which is pretty bad for that defense, which again, under the Zimmer regime, up until the last year or two, they've been top 5 defenses. So it's tough for me to watch because I love defense. But the Colts passing offense, they're actually ranked 19th. They're averaging 217.8 yards per game. And that's even worse than that in their last 3 games. They've only been at 189.3 yards per game passing. And that's really where you can take advantage of the Vikings is the pass defense. So I fully expect them to actually beat that 217.8 yards per game against us with Matt Ryan.
Yeah,
I expect that he's going to get closer to 250, could get a little squirrely. He could get closer to 300. It's just whether or not the Vikings can outpace them with their offense. And I fully expect them to be able to do that. The pressure is truly on Minnesota's defense and Ed Donatel. But I like the way that the offense has been performing. I believe Justin Jefferson is within striking range of another record for Minnesota, most receiving yards ever in a season by a receiver. I think he needs 113 yards to beat Randy Moss this week or something like that. So he beat another record last week. He's broken multiple records so far this year. He's just having a phenomenal season.
He's got a
We're
chance
gonna keep
at
feeding
2,000.
him. He does have a chance at 2,000. He's got to have a couple pretty good games here, but he does have a decent chance at 2,000. And this Colts passing defense, and for what it's worth, their rushing, their defense in general just has not been very good this year. The stats are starting to show that where we thought they'd be at least an average defense to above average defense, it is just not working out for them so far this year. Nothing really is. The one thing that they got going for them is the running game, Jonathan Taylor, but even he hasn't been as good as he could be this year. As long as we keep him in check, we should be able to hopefully keep the passing game not from getting blown out. Red zone defense has been all right, and I still think that we win this game. I'm not willing to say that we win it by more than 3.5 points. I'm not willing to lay the number, though. So I'm going to be taking the Vikings money line on this one because we like close games and we like winning close games. So that's what it's going to be for us. Non-prime time game, which makes it a Kirk Cousins win. We'll get the win. It could be closer.
Vikings money line. So it makes a lot of sense. You guys do play close games. The culture just really bad though, man. Like Jeff Saturday did not really change anything. Now, I do think Matt Ryan will throw for over the 218 yards he's averaged because you guys play a very soft coverage. You allow people to fucking eat underneath, but the Colts don't have a ton in the Colts don't have a ton in the way of guys that do much after the catch anymore. They don't have a Naheem Hines that can hit out of the backfield. Michael Pittman does a little bit of yak, but he's not a huge yak guy.
He's more he's a possession plus receiver.
Yeah, like they don't have anything that worries me about you getting the ball in their hands underneath and them going and, making something happen. So I think that you guys will cover, but I'm not going to take it because I need to get the fucking record back up. I need to get the record back up. I can't have 3 weeks in a row with a loss or a negative record, losing record. So I'm going Vikings on the money line as well. You guys are a better team. Jefferson is a stud. The Colts aren't great. There's going to be, I don't even understand what's going to happen with this team next year. I don't think they'll have the same quarterback. I'm almost 100% certain they will not have the same head coach. I think that there is a potential that there could be some movement in the front office because of the inability to find a long-term answer at quarterback.
Yeah, I think GM could definitely go.
And Chris Ballard is a fucking great GM. Like,
if you look at the interview or the press conference that they did when they introduced Saturday, Chris Ballard almost looked like he saw the writing on the wall. Like, I'm kind of fucked here.
Yeah.
Like,
Irsay stepped on his dick and said, no, we're hiring fucking Jeff.
Yeah.
I don't have any idea what's going to happen with this team. I think all three of them are gone, or at least potentially gone. I think Matt Ryan maybe rides off into the sunset in a retirement. And if not, I don't know what they're going to do at quarterback. I don't know if you can pay Matt Ryan again, unless you have some guy that is just really good at getting Matt Ryan to do Matt Ryan things like he was back in the day. You're going to have to hire somebody from the Shanahan staff to bring in to be the head coach to make Matt Ryan look like he did, 5 years ago.
Yeah. And as of right now, the Colts would have the 7th overall pick. So that does put them in range to take one of those quarterbacks, because this is expected to be a relatively quarterback heavy draft. We could see 3, maybe 4 taken within the top 10 picks. So they would be within striking range of someone like a Will Levis, or if you feel good about him, an Anthony Richardson or something like that. So they could have their chance. It is a little high for me, but I mean, right now, especially if you're looking at like the draft pundits and stuff like that who are putting out their early boards, you're seeing some, I'll call it relatively crazy stuff. I mean, they've got CJ Stroud going after Will Levis in some of these.
Yeah.
And I don't know how you feel about that. I personally am not completely sold on CJ Stroud yet. I have to do a lot more research here in the offseason.
I like Stroud. There are things that worry me about Stroud. I think Stroud would do best to spend one more year in college. However, I don't think he will, because the NFL he's going to be drafted very, very high. No, I don't think he's not worried about money. He has got a massive NIL deal and a collective down there at fucking Ohio State that is paying him very good money. So he is not hurting for money. He doesn't need to go leave to provide for his family like back in the day. But when you have a potential to be a top 5 pick, I think you'll leave. I like Levis. I really like Will Levis. He's starting to really kind of climb up my board. I think Stroud has the higher upside. I think the more pro-ready prospect is Will Levis.
Yeah,
based on the things that I have seen.
I'm not willing to put my stamp on anything yet, because I haven't really done a deep dive.
Well, I watched a shitload of CJ Stroud, and then I try to catch. I don't watch the Alabama games. I'm not fucking doing it, but I do try to watch some of the other games to get reads on quarterbacks. Plus, I'm in this fantasy this pick'em pool with my buddies, and they're all SEC fans. So damn near all of our games are SEC games that we pick every week. So I tune in, watch those, because I got nothing else to do.
Now, I'll say this about this draft class coming up, though, especially this first round and second round. I'm real excited for it. Like, I've intentionally put off really looking too much at these players right now, because I can't wait for this NFL offseason to really look at these draft picks. There's a lot of talent, like whether it's quarterback or guys like the sons of players that we watched growing up, Joey Porter Jr. I fucking have a hard on for him. I want the Vikings to go out and fucking get him at cornerback. Like, things like that. Like, there's a lot of talent in this first round. I'm super excited for when we get into that this offseason.
And we will be going into our second offseason, so we are going to have a much better grasp of the things that we are trying to do and put out content-wise. Last year, we were a little up and down. Do we want to do this? Do we want to do that? We're going to be ready to go, and this is a great fucking class. There's a ton of talent at the top.
It's going to be a lot
I don't know
of
how
fun.
deep it is, but all right, let's get off that. We're both going Vikings money line.
Real quick, though, even though I am going Vikings money line, I'm calling it. I think the score will be 30 Vikings, 22 Colts. One score game. All right, next we have the Ravens and the Browns.
Yeah.
Being played in Cleveland. How's the weather going to be there, Mike?
It's going to be cold. It's going to be cold as fuck. So
Active weather
there's a
says 36 right now.
Yeah, so what they're
freezing.
saying, what I've got right here on forecast.io, it's supposed to be 32 degrees and 3% chance of snow at kickoff. It is currently snowing right now, as producer Amber updated us. So it's going to be cold, and the wind is almost always whipping through First Energy Stadium based on the design and its fucking location directly on the goddamn lake.
No, has the grass been fixed there yet?
So that I don't believe has been fixed. I have not kept up with that. I can give you a report tomorrow when I get there. It was very evident that somebody had created giant goddamn donuts in it the last game. But I do not know what they've done to fix
Have they cleared out that drunk fan yet? Because I know that he was fucked up in
that
the
was
stands.
in Cincinnati. He was in Cincinnati.
Oh, I'm sorry. You don't think he travels?
Oh, he definitely. That guy 100%
looks like he fucking travels.
Yeah, I don't know how he travels. Like somebody carries him out of that stadium every fucking
by
time.
the tip of his meth pipe and a thumb on a cold road. He will find his way.
That dude is just insane. Like the skunk, from my understanding, has been removed from the stadium. That's also something that's happened. We've had Brown's possum, now we got Brown skunk, and we got fucking Weeble Wobble, fucking Peyton Hillis.
That dude was lit. He was fucked up.
I was impressed the fact that he didn't vomit or fall down.
That we saw.
That we saw.
Now,
did you see the aftermath picture?
Yeah, of him outside of the stadium, passed the fuck out against the wall.
Yes.
He gave it his all for from
2.5
the start of the game,
probably pregame tailgate as well.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm sure that all the Cincinnati fans who were there last week for the 23-10 loss to the Cincinnati Bengals probably were close to that guy, but he just took it next level because he's that sort of a super fan. And great hair on him too. Fuck.
Oh, the fucking! I don't even. You can't even call that a mullet, can you?
I don't know. It looks like an untamed mullet.
I don't know what it was. It was intense though. Last week was not great. Deshaun Watson. Okay, let's get into the game. Deshaun Watson last week looked better, but better.
Would you say that they've massaged the rust off yet?
No, the rust has not been massaged off yet. There's still quite a bit of rust that he is going to need worked out. So some of the things that he did well was he didn't throw the ball in the dirt. So when he saw guys open, he was able to get the ball to them. However, Deshaun does not know this playbook at all yet. One thing that was very evident to me watching is he does not know where his hots are, and he does not understand his side adjustments yet in this offense whatsoever. Multiple times they brought zero, all-out blitz, guys wide open on crossers underneath, and we do not dump it down quick. That's exactly where that ball goes. You get high school kids that know that. Like when you see the cover zero, you're looking for your hot, you're hitting your hot almost immediately.
Now, I don't want to sound like an asshole here, like I'm kind of rolling on the Browns here a little bit, but the dude's been sitting for 13 weeks.
What the fuck has he been doing? Why does he not know the hots and the side adjustments after sitting for 13 weeks? I mean, now, granted, he's only been in the facility for like 7. But 7 weeks is a long time to learn the goddamn playbook.
I'm sure he's had a playbook. I'm sure he's had coach contact of some sort, whether legal, illegal, whatever. A guy ain't out there getting rub and tugs every day, we think. So he's got to be able to be watching the games happening, assessing what's going on, looking at his playbook, making things link up a little bit.
They definitely gave him a playbook. I don't know if he ever read it, though, other than while he's been at practice. It was baffling to me that when you see the pressures that are coming, you don't know where to go with the ball. Now, if you see the pressure, if you see cover zero look and they drop out of it, obviously you don't immediately throw the hot. You don't need to, right? But you have to at least know where the fuck the hot is. Like if the cover zero comes, ball out of your hand immediately. And it didn't happen. It led to a couple of sacks, threw the ball late in coverage. That's what led to the interception. And our offensive line has really not played very well recently. We have not been able to get Nick Chubb going. The zone runs have not worked. And Nick Chubb is not a running back that I want standing next to Deshaun Watson in a shotgun formation. I want Deshaun to get his ass under center and run the fucking offense that works for Nick Chubb and be able to do all of those things instead of having to take 90% of his snaps out of the shotgun formation.
Yeah. Now, it wasn't a completely abysmal line for him. This does seem more like a week 1 line for him, like a guy that's just getting back into it on a new team. 26 of 42, 6.5-ish yards average, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, and he took 2 sacks. Not a great line, but definitely better than the week before. So we're seeing some progress.
There is progress. So I think that there is some reason to have encouragement going into this weekend.
The run game was abysmal last week, though.
That being said, the fact that we have not been able to run the ball well is very, very worrisome.
Chubb's line was 14 rushes for 34 yards.
Yeah.
3 catches for 20 yards.
That can't happen.
That's like the lifeblood of your team for the most part is Chubb and that running attack. That's a rough one, man.
And we are seeing a lot of outside zone running plays out of the shotgun formation. Nick Chubb is not a fucking running back that you run out of the shotgun formation on wide zone. Now, he can run a wide zone, but you need to run that from under center. He's not running read option fucking runs. That's not the back that he's designed to be. That is more suited towards a, how did I just forget his motherfucking name? Kareem Hunt. Yeah. That's more suited for Kareem Hunt. So we've got to get the running game going. I don't understand what has gone on over the last couple of weeks. I don't know that it's going to be that big of a deal, though, because Baltimore is really bad. They're not good on defense, and they're still not going to have Lamar Jackson.
Yep. So for this game, it is Cleveland -3 and over under of 39. Huntley is going to be starting. Lamar Jackson is still out. Baltimore actually already played Cleveland. They beat them 23-20 in week 7. That was a Lamar versus Jacoby Brissett game. Cleveland has been averaging 8 offensive points per game in their past 2 weeks since Deshaun Watson has been back. That's an NFL worst. So hopefully we see an uptick in that. Things start clicking a little bit better for them. Baltimore, however, they've won 6 of their past 7 games after starting 3-3, and that's actually surprising to me. I felt like they've lost more in that time span. Personally, for me, if Pickett doesn't go down last week, I think the Steelers win over Baltimore. I mean, Trubisky had 3 giveaways late in the game. He was just giving the game away at that point.
Yeah, people are calling for Mason Rudolph to start over Mitch.
At that point, it's almost like you needed to make that change. And I believe Pickett is expected to play. I'm not positive on that though this week.
If Pickett doesn't play, I think the guys in the locker room want Mason over fucking Mitch.
And I'll make sure to look that up before we get into that game. But how are you feeling about this Browns-Ravens game, Mike? Do you think
it's going to be low scoring? It's going to be a very crappy, boring ass game. I would imagine there's going to be a lot of people going to the concourse to get beers and food because the game is going to be boring as shit, hoping that I sell a shitload of 50-50 raffle tickets.
Now, if you get to a 4th and 1 on the goal line, do you expect them to pull Jacoby Brissett out again and throw a play action pass?
I don't. The play calling from Kevin Stefanski has really pissed me off over the last couple of weeks. Like he's done some bonehead things in the past, but to make that decision, like, you know what? If you bring in Jacoby Brissett right here and you sneak it and you don't get it, that's a decision that I think all of the fans can live with. They won't like it, but they can live with it because Jacoby's percentage on on converting those is so astronomically high.
And
to run a play action and throw a deep ball, something that Jacoby's not fucking good at, is
maybe we should give a little bit more backstory if you don't already understand, because I know not everyone was probably watching the Cleveland game. I am fully aware of what happened in this one, but if you want to break down this specific play that we're talking about, Mike, I'm sure people would enjoy it.
Yeah, so Browns get into a short 4th and 1 situation. They are in position to kick the field goal. This is the very first offensive possession of the game. Stefanski has kind of gotten used to just going for it in these situations. He says, fuck the points early in the game. I'm going to go for it and try to set the tone with my team and go out and get something done. It's worked almost none this year. It's been a terrible fucking strategy. But they decide they're going to do it. So instead of giving Deshaun Watson, your $230 million quarterback.
Arguably a better runner.
Arguably a better runner. The option to be in a shotgun, run pass options, things like that, to go and make a play. You take him out and you bring in Jacoby Brissett. Jacoby Brissett is really good at QB sneaks. Like, he has a conversion rate of, I think, over 90% on anything 1 yard and under.
Like, this is a stat that I believe we've looked at before. Like, he's highest in the NFL,
it's
I believe,
insane.
With QB sneaks for some reason.
Yeah, he's really good at them. So you're like, okay, fuck, here we go, Jacoby, sneak. They know it's coming. They have to know it's coming, because why would you bring Jacoby in? Well, they don't run it. Instead, they run a play action, and they look to throw the ball. But there's only like one fucking guy in the route.
DPJ, right?
It was not DPJ.
No?
I'm pretty sure the only guy in the route was Harrison. Oh. The second fucking tight end.
Makes sense.
Going deep. So you don't have Njoku, who's fast leaper. You don't have DPJ, who's been really sure-handed this year. And you don't have Amari Cooper, who's your best wide receiver. I don't understand what the fuck they were thinking. It made no goddamn sense, and it cost us points. I don't know that it ultimately cost us the game, because there were plenty of other situations that happened that allowed their drive to continue on farther and farther, playing undisciplined football. But this Browns team is not very good. They need to show a big improvement, but I don't know that we will see that this week. I think that we can win this game. I don't know if we will win this game. So I'm going to go with the Ravens plus the points, because I think this is going to be a very close game that we could either win or lose. I don't trust the Browns right now. I don't trust the play calling, and the defense can probably hold up against a Huntley, but we can't fucking score. And we cannot expect our defense and special teams to score 3 touchdowns for us like we did against the Texans to win that game.
I'm going a little bit different than you. A little bit more confidence in the Browns in this game. I am going Browns money line. I'm not willing to shed the points. I do think it will be a close game. The Ravens defense has played better. Not to say that they're good, but they've played better. I think that you guys will give a heavy focus to what happened in the run game last week and really make sure to get that established, and that'll set a tone for the game. That sort of clock management with the run
calls
will be better.
Cannot run the shotgun runs.
And I think going into the third week of Deshaun Watson, they'll probably start to figure things out a little bit better. We've seen a progression between game 1 and game 2. Got to see 1 and 3 to actually call it a trend. I think that'll happen. I don't expect big stat lines. I expect efficiency from him with a heavy dose of run game. And I think that'll be enough for you guys as the home team to get the win there. 3 points, I think you can win by 3. I'm not willing to say that you will, though. That's why I'm going Cleveland money line.
I see this as a 16-14 game.
Who comes out 39, so that's pretty close.
Who is the 16 and who is the 14? I don't know, but with that being that close, I'm taking the points. Taking the Ravens west of points.
All righty. Well, then that moves on to our last game on Saturday, and probably our most exciting one if you aren't a big Cleveland Browns or Minnesota Vikings fan like we are. That's the Dolphins at the Bills. All right, so 2 pretty damn good teams going up later on in the evening. This is going to be taking place in Orchard Park, New York, and this is probably our biggest weather game.
Yeah, 32 degrees at kickoff. So there's a 25% chance of snow. I believe it is currently snowing in Buffalo. I could look that up real quick. Fuck.
Tits.
Shit. All right.
We'll move on.
So I don't know what the weather. I think it is snowing currently in Buffalo. There's a chance that it will continue to snow tomorrow in the afternoon. So I don't know if it's going to be a lot of snow. We're not talking the snow apocalypse, like we had the potential for with the Browns game.
Yeah, they're not moving the game or anything like that. And I think the snow could potentially be a factor.
So it is 100% snowing in Buffalo right now.
It's less about the snow for me. It's more about just the cold, windy weather because it is expected to be snowy or cold, freezing, possibly below freezing. It is expected to be windy, and there is that potential for snow. All right. This is, again, expected to be below freezing, so it's going to possibly be the first Dolphins game that they've played in freezing temps in around 5 years. And then with that wind and snow factored in, a South Florida team, that could be rough for them. There's been a lot of talks on social media about how is this Dolphins team going to be able to play in the snow. And then you have Tua coming out and being like, guys, I played at Alabama. We had snow there, which is fine. It doesn't mean you necessarily played good. Looking at the 4 coldest games that Tua has played in his NFL career, they were all above freezing. I think the closest one was 36, maybe 42. His passer rating average in those games, 61.6. The Dolphins lost all 4 of those games by a combined total of 83 points. I don't expect Miami to go in there and play like their normal selves, and their normal selves lately has not been great. They lost to the Chargers 23-17, lost to the 49ers 33-17. Those are both teams that are potential playoff teams here. Definitely the 49ers, but Chargers are very possibly a playoff team, someone that they might have to see again here not too long. This is Miami's chance to try to sweep Buffalo for the first time since 2011. And they did beat Buffalo in Miami in week 3, but that was 21-19. And we talked about this one. Buffalo beat themselves.
Yep.
Buffalo beat themselves in that game. Not to take credit away from Miami, but that was a big game for Tua. And it was because Buffalo beat themselves. Buffalo should have won that game. Now, Buffalo's won 5 straight games at home against Miami, averaging their average point total win of 17.6 points over Miami in those last 5 games. They've had their number. Miami's a better team this year than they were in the past, but I don't know if it's going to make a difference. It's going to be a rough one for Miami. I mean, Miami is actually starting a very, very tough end of their schedule. You got Buffalo, they've got the Jets, and then Green Bay. Not that I think a lot about Green Bay, but I think that they're probably going to lose this game, and they very well could lose to the Jets up there in New York.
Yeah, well, we'll see what happens with that. Well, we're going to talk about that in a little bit.
Oh, they have the Patriots as well. They're at the Patriots, home versus the Jets, and home versus the Packers. Not in that order.
Oh,
I completely dicked that up. Next, they have the Bills, then the Packers in Miami, Patriots in New England, Jets in Miami. Either way, it's not a cakewalk.
No, it's not.
They are fringe right now, possibly getting into the playoffs as a wild
They're
card.
holding on to dear life, and they just lost their tiebreaker with the Chargers, the team that I think they're going to be competing with for that spot.
Yeah, Buffalo's 10-3, Miami's 8-5 right now.
Miami is a good team. Listen, but they are starting to kind of be exposed in some areas. All right. I think that they have the potential to keep this game close, but only because I don't know that how much scoring is going to happen as a whole with the temperatures being as cold and crappy and the snow. 7 points is a lot, but the Bills are absolutely winning this game. Miami is not going to go up to fucking Buffalo and play in freezing temperatures and beat Josh Allen and that Buffalo Bills team. It's absolutely not happening. I cannot lay the 7 points because I think the weather is going to stifle the offenses a little bit. But no doubt in my mind, I'm Bills money line here.
So I got to check one thing real quick. All right. So the last 2 games that Miami has played at 49ers, they lost 33-17 at the 49ers. They lost at the Chargers 23-17. These are both fair weather cities. All right. Miami should have played decent, but 17 points scored by Miami in both of those games. The defenses have figured out how to stop their undercut routes. Buffalo, on the other hand, they've won 4 in a row now, and they've put up 31 points, 28 points, 24 points, 20 points. I mean, obviously, I like the Bills to win this one. I'm actually going to go ahead and take Bills minus the points on this one. I think Miami goes in here and gets kind of fucked up. I do not think that this team is built to be playing in that sort of environment. And the Bills, they know how to play in that. This is a Josh Allen type of game. He's going to be able to deal with the cold weather. Stephon Diggs, he is able to catch the ball in this cold weather. They've just got back Cole Beasley. He knows how to play with Josh Allen. They have a good rapport. He's a good, solid catcher. Like, he's going to be an upgrade over Isaiah McKenzie. And that's going to increase their ability to work the passing game. I don't think their run game is bad, but the passing game is where it's at. I think the Bills will be able to overcome any sort of cold temperatures up there because they live in it. I mean, you see the practice squad players this week out there in parkas underneath their jerseys and pads and stuff like that. They're used to it. They're used to playing out in that shit. I wanted to take the Bills money line. I'm going to take them minus the 7 points because I feel this good about this game. I like the Miami team. I do not like them in this environment at all. And it's a little bit different for me because it's a divisional game, so I expect it to be closer. But I'm gonna say Buffalo minus the 7 here. Okay. I just feel it in my boner.
So I gotta see something here real quick. Take this hair out.
I haven't seen this hair in a while because there's normally a hat on. Jesus Christ.
Hold on. Am I the Browns guy?
You're pretty close.
I feel like I got it.
You're pretty close. There you go. I see it.
There we go.
Jesus Christ. Just take some of your vitamins and you will be 100% there.
Oh, yeah. I actually did some baking earlier today.
Oh, good for you. All right. Well,
School's
with that,
out, baby. School's
that's
out.
our Saturday games. So we can move on to Sunday, our normal forecast of games. Again, bye weeks are all over. So we've got every team in the NFL playing, and we can start off with another pretty, well, maybe not a good one. We'll see. Eagles versus the Bears. This one's being played in Chicago at Soldier Field. The line is currently Philly minus 9 points, over under of 48.5. What do you got here, Mike?
Give me a second. I'm about to burp. Try not to do it into the mic.
All right. Well, while you do that, Bears are coming off of a bye. All right. Justin Fields is starting. That helps them a little bit. But Philly's won their last 2 games by 25 or more points against Tennessee and the Giants. Both 2 teams that are at least average, if not above average at this point. Jalen Hurts has had a 117.3 passer rating since week 8, which is the best in the NFL. He's thrown 16 touchdowns and 1 interception in that span. On the flip side of that, Chicago's defense has been allowing quarterbacks 116.5 passer ratings during their 6-game losing streak, which is the worst losing streak in the NFL. And they've been allowing 11 touchdowns and one interception over that time span. So Chicago's defense giving up a shitload. Hurts has been cooking. And Philly their offense in general has just been whooping ass. So this does seem like a little bit of an overmatch. Again, the line for this one, Philly minus 9 going into Chicago.
9 is a lot to give up. They are really, really good. Philly is a very good team. Possibly the class of the NFC, even though I'm starting to lean more towards the Niners. The Bears still aren't great, even though we are starting to see some flashes from Justin Fields. Coming off the bye week, I would hope that we see some self-scout and they start to do some things that are more conducive towards allowing him to operate better inside that offense. There it was. Jesus Christ, that took forever. Excuse me. Sorry, everybody. But even coming off the bye, extra rest, this late in the season, I don't know what good it does because your team's already done. Their team's out. You're now trying to evaluate certain guys on your team. Justin Fields being one of them, because this coach did not draft Justin Fields, nor did this GM. Hopefully they start to do some things, because I think Justin Fields started to really click there those last couple of weeks. He started seeing a lot of progression from him that we had not seen early in his career. It's not going to matter, though. The Eagles are going to win this game. I'm just not willing to lay the 9 points because I'm trying to not have another, losing record week. So I'm going Eagles on the money line.
All right. And I pretty much agree with you. Like you said, the Eagles are potentially the class of the NFC. The 49ers are the next closest to them. And I do think the 49ers edge them out. The Eagles have a 2-win lead in the NFC for that first seed. So for them to drop down here in the next 4 weeks is possible, not probable. But I'm actually going to take Chicago plus the 9 points on this one because I think it's going to be another sleeper game like last week when Dallas played Houston and Houston had their Alamo game. They barely lost that one versus the Cowboys.
And the only reason they lost, the only reason the fucking Texans lost is because Pierce went out.
Yeah. They barely lost at the end. I don't like this Bears team, but Fields has been looking better. He runs the ball well. That's been the weakness of the Philly defense. They're playing at home. After this long time off, maybe Claypool starts to get a little bit more involved in the passing game a little bit here and there. I think they can keep it within 9. I don't think the Bears win, but I think they can keep it within 9. And Philly might be slacking a little bit. This is the time of year that you see these teams that are leading their conferences give up some stupid games. You almost saw it with the Cowboys last week. I think we could almost see it this week, at least within that spread. I'm taking Chicago plus the 9. That's my second ballsy pick of the week because I just fucking feel it in my groin.
Well, letting me try to climb back in on these on this race towards the season, end of the season here.
I'm not intentionally doing it, but I very well might be doing it.
All right.
All righty. Next up, we have the Falcons and the Saints being played in New Orleans. The line is New Orleans -4 and an over-under of 43.5. Where you got this one, Michael?
So this is going to be the first time we get to see Desmond Ridder start a game for the Atlanta Falcons. I'm very excited to see what he does. However, going into New Orleans is notoriously difficult, especially on young guys, because there is so much fucking noise inside that stadium. Desmond Ridder has to be on top of every aspect of this offense and the calls to make sure he can communicate with his guys. And that is tough to do in New Orleans. I am not high on New Orleans at all. I think Andy Dalton is having one last hurrah. I don't understand why they continue to start him unless Jameis has just done something really bad to get himself in the doghouse. But I don't know that Ridder is going to lift this Falcons offense up enough to go compete against a really good defense in the Saints. They're still pretty good. Now, injuries have hurt them quite a bit this year. We can say that about a lot of teams at this point in the season. But going into New Orleans for a first game is going to be very tough on Desmond Ridder. I'm going Saints money line.
All right. So for me, I'm excited to see Desmond Ridder go in here. We talked about him. I mean, it's been over a year now, it feels like, where we've kind of been following Ridder a little bit. He was a guy that kind of sparked an interest in me while he was still playing in college. Desmond Ridder, the third most winningest quarterback in FBS history. Just a little fun stat there. But obviously he was on a really good Cincinnati team. I don't know that he provides that much of an uplift, but I think that we'll see at least the same sort of play that we saw out of Mariota. Potential for a couple more mistakes, but I think it'll be more so rookie mistakes rather than a veteran who just isn't as good as a true starting quarterback should be. But he does have a lot of upside to him. Now, New Orleans did defeat Atlanta in week 1, 27-26, and that was a come from behind win for New Orleans in Atlanta. I don't think this is New Orleans team is as healthy as they were then. I mean, obviously we're this late in the season. They probably won't be as healthy. And like you said, yeah, no one is. But I do think that Atlanta has figured out who they are a little bit more. Atlanta's failed to cover 6 of their past 7 after starting 6-0 on the year. The other thing for me here is New Orleans, they're out. Yeah. I mean, in the NFC South, Tampa Bay leads that division at 6-7, a losing record. Then you have the Panthers at 5-8.
Don't ruin my take for later on the Panthers.
You have the Panthers at 5-8 and the Falcons at 5-8, and then the Saints at 4-9. The Saints are not getting back into this, but the Falcons have a chance to. I think they got more to play for. And with Ritter going in there, that might provide a little bit of a spark. I don't know that I expect Atlanta to win this game, but I'm actually going to take Atlanta plus the points on this one. Despite the fact that New Orleans, their offense hasn't been playing great, their defense has still been pretty solid. But they did lose last week to the Buccaneers, and the Buccaneers ain't fucking good either, man. That took late game heroics. All right. So I'm going to take Atlanta plus the points here. I think they could win outright, but I'll take the points because I think New Orleans is just done. And Atlanta's still got a little bit to play for.
All
right. Next game. We have the Lions at the Jets being played in New Jersey. The line is now Detroit -1.5. Before it was a pick'em, but a little bit of injury stuff played into this, I think. Detroit is now favored by 1.5 points, over under 43.5. And Mike White ain't playing.
Yeah, so do I need to say it? Who's starting at quarterback for the Jets?
Zach Wilson, maybe.
Give me the other team. Give me whoever the fuck they're playing against. I don't care who it is at this point. Zach's not the guy. No. It sucks for Mike that he got injured and got banged up because he fucking battled through that last game.
I posted this on the Facebook page just before we started the show. Mike White has gone to 10 separate doctors trying to get one of them to clear him in order to have the team give him the thumbs up to be able to play.
He wants to play. He is a guy. He is a fucking leader. Guys like playing with Mike White. They don't like playing with Zach Wilson. There was a report. Now, I didn't see who said it. There was a receiver apparently who would rather have Joe Flacco play than fucking Zach Wilson. I think there's a couple of guys in the locker room who maybe won't come out and say it outright that think the exact same thing. The Lions are on a fucking heater right now. They are doing anything it takes to win, and they are making it happen. They threw to Penei Sewell to lock up the game against you guys. They do not give a fuck how they have to do it. They are playing scrappy football. They're playing really good offensive football. And their defense is not great, but they're playing against Zach Wilson. And he fucking stinks. Lions cover. No problem.
Now, this is the thing, is that the Jets are just outside of the wild card race right now, and that's weird to say because they are last technically in their division. They're at 7-6, tied with the Chargers at 7-6, just outside of the playoffs. The Patriots are in there at 7-6. I could understand if the Jets had a better record and thought they had a really good shot at making the playoffs at that point, to go ahead and sit Mike White because they think they're going to need him for the playoffs. But at this point, you're still fighting for that playoff spot. You are technically the last in your division. I don't think you should play a guy when they're injured, but I mean, I think that Mike White could still play. He thinks he could still play. He's the best chance for you to win this game. And then it's Joe Flacco after that, not Zach Wilson. But even so, I mean, even if Mike White was playing this game, this is still way closer to me than it should be. Lions, I do think that they're going to win this game. I'm going to lay the 1.5 points for the Lions on this. All right. You've got Jared Goff, who's been fucking balling out. And it's weird to say because we overlook Jared Goff a lot. I don't think that he's that great of a quarterback, but you can't really deny the stats that he's put up, especially ever since their new offensive coordinator took over late last year. Goff, weeks 10 through 14, limited sample size, but it's only 5 weeks. 1,311 passing yards, which is fourth in the NFL. He's thrown 8 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, second in the NFL, and he has 107.9 passer rating, which is third in the NFL. He's looked good. He's looked really good. That offense has been explosive the past couple weeks, particularly because the defense has looked better too. Ever since they got rid of their defensive backs coach, that defense has picked it up quite a bit. Detroit's won 5 of their past 6. Jets have lost 2 straight for the first time this season, and I kind of think this continues at home. The way the Lions are playing, that offense is really tough to beat.
And you want to talk about somebody playing for something. The Lions are playing for something. They have a chance to make the fucking playoffs. When is the last time we go into week 15 talking about the Lions having a chance to make the fucking playoffs?
Not very often, Mike.
It's great for the Lions, their fan base. I have no ill will. Like, I hate damn near all teams from Michigan. The Lions I have no ill will towards whatsoever because their fan base is just as much as maligned as mine is. So I'm rooting for the Lions. I think they win this game, and I think they win by a field goal at least. I think they can win by more. And we talked about this a little bit last week about what the Lions might be thinking when it comes draft time. Do you really think you need to go out and get a quarterback if this is the kind of play you're going to get from Jared Goff?
I don't want to bring this back to the Vikings, but I like the way that Kirk has been playing this year. He's been statistically great through his time in Minnesota, except for the wins and except for prime time. Do I feel like we could win a Super Bowl with Kirk Cousins? Yes. But do I feel like he is that it type of quarterback? No. And I think the Lions are starting to move into that same territory.
I'm not saying that Jared Goff can win this team a Super Bowl. I don't even know if he can win them a playoff game. But they could build this roster out over the next year or two, and then they go look for a guy. I don't think you have to do that. I don't think you have to get rid of Goff and look for his replacement this year, even if this is a really good year to look for one, because that team is vastly improving. Dan Campbell has got those guys buzzing, man. Like they're fun to fucking watch.
Yeah. Now, the argument for me, as far as going after a quarterback this year, is that the Lions have 2 picks right now slated to be in the top 15. How often are you going to have that opportunity? One of them right now is as high as pick number 4, which is prime striking distance for one of those top quarterbacks in the draft. If this team continues to be good like this, you're not going to be having high draft picks again. So if you want to go out and get your quarterback of the future, you kind of got to take your shot while you can. And with 2 picks in the first round, they could package them up and move up maybe to like a Seattle at number 2 or something like that. Or if the Bears don't like to take a quarterback this year because they feel good about Fields, they can move somewhere up closer to 3. But I mean, if they stay pat at 4, they can probably get one of the top 2 guys, maybe top 3 guys, and you still have another first round pick to go out and solidify another part of your roster.
That's true. It's tough to.
It's tough to do it with Goff.
Needs, yeah,
but I mean, look, you've seen other teams in the past that have had average to above average quarterbacks, and then they go out and they'll get themselves their guy of the future. It's not a great 1-for-1, but the Chiefs had Alex Smith, and Alex Smith was playing real good with them. And then they went out and got Mahomes. And I don't think anyone regrets that. I mean, Alex Smith was playing like a top 15 quarterback. Goff, over the year, has been playing like a top 15 quarterback. But if you're able to go out there and get yourselves your Mahomes, you got to do it.
There's not a Mahomes in this draft, though.
Not at this point.
But all right, so I'm going Lions, and I'm laying the points -1.5. You're going Lions money line?
No, I'm laying the points as well.
Laying the points? All right.
All right, next up, we have the Steelers and the Panthers. This will be a fun one. Being played in Charlotte. Line is Carolina -3, over under of 37.5. Carolina, they've won 3 of their last 4 under Steve Wilkes, so pretty good for them. A team that we just expected to completely implode after getting rid of the head coach and McCaffrey and that receiver that no one gives a shit about because he sucks ass. Yeah, he's with the Cardinals now. Darnold, he's actually looked okay for them in the 2-game win streak that they've had. He's thrown 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. But Pittsburgh is 1 loss away from their first losing season since 2003. So something that Pittsburgh fans are really not used to seeing. It is definitely a new type of team when you don't have Big Ben there anymore. But we kind of saw this trend happening. Now, Carolina, they've been 6-1 against the spread since trading McCaffrey. Again, that seems weird, but when you factor in the Vegas betting odds and stuff like that, they probably weighed McCaffrey pretty heavy because he's a huge part of that team, or was. So they probably started to favor things a little bit different, but Carolina didn't necessarily lose a ton because the team just wasn't operating great. So I know that you got a take on this Carolina team that you alluded to earlier. What do you got for me, Mike?
I think Carolina's going to win that division. I really do. And are they a better team than the Buccaneers? No. However, they're playing inspired football. They're playing a brand of football that you don't typically see. The last time we saw something like this happen, it ended in a lot of controversy in the NFL circles. We had a Miami team who was tanking for Tua. And then they bring in a guy in Fitzmagic that we love. And he goes out and wins some games, and then they end up falling down the draft. They still end up getting Tua, but, they go out and they start acting very competitive. And then we find out that the Dolphins organization was purposely trying to tank, or at least what that is alluded to by Brian Flores. And obviously we know where that's kind of gone. We don't have any resolution on that yet, but that is the last time we've kind of seen this. We see Coach Steve Wilkes go out and just flat out call out the ownership group in a press conference saying that we're trying to lose. We're not, nobody on this fucking team is trying to lose. We're all trying to win. I'm playing for a job. All these guys are fucking playing for jobs. Like, I think that they are kind of rallying around that. The kind of major league-esque. Let's go out there and just win the whole fucking thing. I like the direction that they're heading, and I really do not like the way that the Steelers are going at all. If Mitch starts, it will be the last time he starts in the NFL for quite some time, unless it's due to injury. He has been really bad. We talked about it a little earlier. People are calling for Mason Rudolph to start for them in place of Mitch Trubisky if Pickett cannot go. If Pickett plays...
Pickett's listed as doubtful as of today.
Yeah, so doubtful means he's almost certainly not playing. So I like the Panthers in this game. I really, really do. I think they have a chance to get in position to where they can compete to win that fucking terrible NFC South. I think they can actually win it because the Bucs are not good either. It takes late game heroics by Tom Brady and the help of some refs for them to win goddamn games. I don't know that they're going to get that, and they're going to play a team that is going out there knowing they have a chance to at least keep pace, if not pull even with the Buccaneers after this weekend for that division race. Give me the Panthers. I'm not going to lay the points, but Panthers on the money line right here for sure.
Yeah, I kind of have the same feeling. I'm going Panthers money on this one. With Trubisky being the starter out there, I don't have a lot of hopes for that Steelers team at this point. I mean, the Panthers, they have been a bit of a surprise the way they've played since Wilkes has taken over for sure. I mean, they beat a Seahawks team last week that I never would have expected them to beat.
No, and they beat them, the Seahawks to win.
Yeah, they beat them pretty well. I mean, 30-24. They put up a lot of points. I mean, Darnold is kind of looking like Darnold from the first 6 weeks of last year. Maybe not as good, but it's good enough to get the job done. They've had a healthy running attack there in Carolina. Defense has still looked pretty decent because they've got some good players on defense. I'm taking Carolina to win this game. I'm not willing to lay the points because I just don't want to lay the points on this team yet because I don't think they're that good. But I think they're good enough to possibly be in the hunt for that division for sure, like you're talking about with Tampa. Now, question for you that I have is that Steve Wilkes had previously head coach down in Arizona for a little bit. Would you rather have Steve Wilkes as your head coach or Cliff Kingsbury?
Steve Wilkes. And I'm not even sure that I should have taken a second longer, but I don't think I need to. I think I'd rather have Steve Wilkes as my coach because you see right now what he is doing with inferior talent and getting them to elevate their level of play and play together to go out and compete in games that feasibly they shouldn't be competing in because they're way out talented.
And I'd be really interested because I'm of the same mindset. I would take Wilkes over Kingsbury. I'm not a Kingsbury fan. I wasn't a Kingsbury fan when they hired him. But I'd be really interested to see what the thoughts are of some of our friends down here in Arizona, because I don't think a lot of them like Kingsbury right now, but I know a lot of them didn't like Wilkes when he left. And I think Wilkes kind of got the raw end of a deal down there. But I think he's a good coach. I do think he's a good coach. So that'd be an interesting question for Spicy Mike's and Nick Peterson's and them down here. But yeah, we're both on Panthers money line here, and good job for Steve Wilkes for being a man and saying what needed to be said.
Yeah, and you know what he's going to do? Well, I think hopefully what happens is he gets another job because he won't be after that press conference. He's not going to be retained in Carolina.
Yeah, and I don't think that he expected to be retained in Carolina, but he definitely will go out and be a DC somewhere.
Yeah.
If not this next year after, something like that, he could definitely go into a lower job on the defense, but he's a good coach, so he'll get a job for sure. All right, next game up, we have the Cowboys and the Jaguars being played in Jacksonville. The line is Dallas -4, which is quite different from last week, the -17 that they almost lost. Over under of 48. So, again, this Dallas team just barely got a late touchdown in order to secure that win on a game that I know that I definitely said, hey, this is a little bit of a trap game. I picked the Texans plus the points on that one.
Yeah. I went, what the fuck did I pick last week? Oh.
Not a good showing for the Cowboys.
No, I took the Cowboys on the money line. You didn't lay the points on the Cowboys.
No,
you wanted to. You talked yourself out of it.
Yeah, it was really hard.
You talked yourself out of it.
Well, either way, we still got the W, but it wasn't a good look for those Cowboys, and maybe I should have been sweating more because I remember seeing what was going on in that game and thinking, yeah, I made a good fucking choice. And I was wrong. Either way, Trevor Lawrence, I'm going to say it right now, I think that next year he will be a top 10 quarterback in this league based on the performance that he's had this year, especially over the last 5 weeks. He's had 10 passing touchdowns, 0 interceptions. He has looked like everything he was billed to be when he was that first overall pick in the draft. I really like what they're doing down there in Jacksonville with him. Defense has looked okay, but the offense is really starting to churn now. Again, Dallas almost got upset as a 17-point favorite versus Houston. It took that game-winning touchdown in the final minute of play for them to be able to win. That being said, Dallas does have the NFL best 35.7 points per game since Dak returned in week 7. Their offense does have the potential to be explosive all over the place. They just signed T.Y. Hilton. Don't think he's going to be a factor at all this week. Kind of made me second guess what's going on with OBJ. It sounds like OBJ might not actually, he still might be going to Dallas.
They're also close to a deal with OBJ, so I think they're just bringing in fucking guys. I don't know.
There's also the rumors though that OBJ is talking about not playing this year, just sitting out the rest of the year. And
well, he's talking about sitting out the regular season and then making his long-awaited debut in the playoffs.
That's what was initially out there. There's been some reports later this week that he's actually considering just not signing with anyone and waiting until free agency.
I did not hear those.
That potentially is out there because there's been some concerning stuff from the medicals for each of these teams that he's going to, where they're kind of like, the knee is still kind of, but maybe we could use you in like 4 weeks, 5 weeks, something like that, which is a healthy bit of time for him to get completely recovered. But either way, they signed T.Y. Hilton down there. I don't think it's going to make that big of an impact. But this is definitely an interesting game for me. I don't think the Cowboys will sleep after last week. This Jaguars team is pretty solid. I'm taking the Jaguars plus the points.
Yeah.
At home.
I want to follow you. But I have one big question. So, and it's plus what, 4, right?
Yep.
And I want to get your take on this. We have seen the Jags team be very good, very scrappy, especially as of late. Trevor Lawrence has played out of his mind. But one guy that has kind of just gone ghost that we expected to have a massive impact on this team following a trade, Travis Etienne has kind of disappeared. Are teams scheming for Etienne and taking him away? Or is he just having a lull? Because if Etienne can go, like if he does those things that we saw early in the season, I would be willing to take the Jags fucking straight up on the money line. But if we see the same Etienne we've seen over the last couple of weeks, 12 carries, 30 yards, and 2 catches for like 20, that worries me for the Jags and their ability to score and keep up with that Cowboys offense. Yeah. Even though Trevor Lawrence has been fucking fantastic.
It is a bit of a concern, and I would, without actually watching the game and seeing what the issue is with Etienne, whether it is him being taken away, him just not performing, I don't know. If I had to just throw something at the wall, I'd say it's the fact that they're throwing 42 times a game, and Trevor Lawrence is doing a very good job at playing quarterback, where the passing game is just becoming that much more prolific. Maybe that 17 carries for
Etienne in the fucking passing game either.
That's true. I mean, but you have an Evan Engram who shouldn't be the leader on their team, getting 11 catches for 162 yards. He's spreading the ball around. I mean, this last game, it looks like 7-8 different receivers caught the ball. Zay Jones had a big day. Evan Engram obviously had a big day. Christian Kirk had a decent day. They're spreading the ball around. It just might be that they're increasing their passing game a little bit more. Etienne, 17 carries, that isn't a starter's workload, but it can be considered a starter's workload for a pass first team.
Yeah.
So while the yards aren't there and aren't great, I'm almost thinking that it's a little bit more of a focus on the passing game and that you have to sprinkle in run plays there. Than Etienne necessarily not doing well, because we've seen when they have leaned heavily on him that he has done pretty good this year. But yeah, I don't know. I'm just kind of excited to see what Doug Peterson ends up doing in this game. He's played the Cowboys for quite a while up there in Philly. He knows how to play them.
And it's amazing what a good, competent head coach can do for a young quarterback.
Yeah. Unlike the previous one.
Yeah.
All right.
So I'm going to make my pick. I'm going Cowboys on the money line. I like the Jags a lot. They're improving. I think the Cowboys are probably a little embarrassed by the fact that they almost lost a game where they were favored by fucking 17 points. I think the Jags are very good. I think this could be close. I do think that the Cowboys find a way to eke this thing the fuck out, though. I'm going Cowboys on the money line. If Etienne were still doing some of those things that we saw earlier in the season, I would be more inclined to go Jags plus the points, 3-point game, possibly Jags even winning that thing. But I'm gonna go with the Cowboys here.
That's definitely a safe pick. Safe way to go about it. I guess I'm just feeling a little bit more ballsy today with some of these picks I'm making.
I see that. You got a lot of spreads in here.
Yeah, more than I'm used to. Yeah. I won't be doing the spread on this next one, though. Is Chiefs and Texans being played in Houston, Kansas City. -14 is your line. Over under of 49.5. This is an interesting one because obviously the Texans played out of their minds last week, but again, that was their Alamo. I think this was their last shot at being like, hey, we could beat a team that we shouldn't be competing with. And then this week, they just have a whole bunch of dudes out. Damian Pierce, Derek Steenwick Jr. The team is beat up. The best players are beat up. The Chiefs are still rolling. I don't expect the Chiefs and Andy Reid to sleep on fucking anybody, so they will be prepared for them. Chiefs will win this game. I'm not taking the points, though. Because it's possible that the Chiefs get so far ahead in the first half
that they fucking coast the rest of the way and then they let them back in.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly what happened to me last week. I can't do it either.
They've burned me.
They've burned me too many fucking times, especially on these big spreads. I got to go Chiefs money line. There's not much analysis needed. We're talking about one of the top 4 teams in the NFL against the worst team in the NFL.
Yep.
Chiefs win. Easy.
And if the Chiefs win this week or the Chargers lose, this will be the Chiefs' 7th straight AFC West title. So fully expect to see that one way or the other. All right, next up, we have the Cardinals and the Broncos. Another super fun one because both Russell Wilson and Kyler Murray are out. Kyler's out for the year. Russell Wilson is out with a gigantic lump on his noggin, which maybe is a benefit for the Broncos. I think that they should call this the Fired Coaches Bowl because both of these coaches are on the hot seat and both of them, I think that if they go out and tie, they should just fire both of them. Now that would be fun for me.
Yeah, so a tie is the only way that this thing would be any worse. It's going to be a fucking 3-3 tie.
A 3-3 tie.
Like this is going to be one of the worst football games we have watched probably all year. This is going to rival some of those Thursday night games.
Yep. So Arizona, they've lost 3 straight and 7 out of their last 9 games. Denver, they've lost 5 straight and 9 out of their last 10 games. Both teams are doo-doo water. The one thing going for the Cardinals had been kind of their passing game since Hopkins came back, but now they're rolling out Colt McCoy. Colt McCoy is a solid backup quarterback, but he's not the guy that you want to see going out there for any extended period of time, which is what he's going to be doing for the rest of this season. Denver has a super solid defense. Not much else. The offense has not been great. I think when you have Ripien going out there, cousin of former Bills quarterback, he might be an upgrade over Russell at this point.
Which fucking Ripien is this one again?
Brett. I think it's Brett
Ripien.
I think so.
It's not Kyle.
Yep, it's Brett.
Okay. Is there a Kyle Ripien? I don't fucking remember anymore. I don't fuck this game.
And he's the nephew of Super Bowl XXVI MVP quarterback Mark Ripien.
Okay, well, the Ripiens have been in the football game for a long, long time, but Brett is not a good football player. We've seen him play before. He's not good.
Yeah. As of week 14, his career NFL stats are 3 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, a 57.3 completion percentage, 536 yards, and a 57.5 passer rating. So he might be better than Russ. Is the funny part of it.
Fuck.
The line for this game is Denver minus 1.5. I'm going to take Cardinals money line to win this one.
Me too.
Because I can't.
Colt McCoy. That's the only fucking reason.
Who's the better quarterback?
Colt McCoy.
Colt McCoy.
I'm going Colt McCoy.
Who's the better defense? Denver. Who's the better offense? Probably Cardinals, but we're not guaranteeing it.
Yeah. And where the fuck are they playing this one again?
This is being played in Denver.
In Denver. Who has the better special teams? This is gonna be a fucking field goal kicking contest. Unless Colt McCoy puts one in the end zone to D-Hop.
Now, the real bet in this one, if you're trying to bet on something, I wouldn't really bet on this game. The real bet is the over-under, which is 36.5, and I'd go under. Hardcore. Under. The Broncos are an under team. Everyone that they play, they go under. Yeah. Colt McCoy's 11-23-1 as a starting quarterback against the spread in his career. It's the worst cover percentage of any quarterback since 1970 that has a minimum of 30 starts. He's not great either.
No.
But he has experience. He's won games in the NFL. He's looked better than Kyler sometimes this year. That's a Cardinals money line. I don't feel great about it. It is what it is. That's low KS.
Sucks.
Yep. All right. Next up, we have the Patriots and the Raiders being played in
we get
Vegas.
To really change up the tone of the show and get to an exciting game.
Yep. The line is currently Vegas -1, over under of 44.5. This is the return of Josh McDaniels to face his old boss, Belichick. McDaniels actually won the only time that they played each other before, when McDaniels
He's the only guy that I think has ever beaten Belichick.
As a previous coach?
Yes.
I don't know. That's possible. I don't know if Patricia ever did. I don't know if what's his nuts down in Houston ever did.
Oh no, so maybe down in Houston, fucking Bill O'Brien.
Yeah,
I feel like Bill O'Brien maybe got him once. I know Patricia didn't. I know the Lions didn't beat the fucking Patriots, and I know the Giants didn't beat the Patriots.
It took McDaniels in 2009 in overtime to be able to beat him. McDaniels, I think, were pretty well set on him being a good offensive coordinator and a dog shit head coach. New England is 7-2 versus teams that didn't play in the playoffs last year, and they're 0-4 against playoff teams as well. So they aren't doing very well. But the Raiders aren't really what I would consider a playoff team. So the odds are that they could beat them there. Vegas has also lost 4 games when leading by 13 points or more this season, which is tied for the most by any team in the NFL history. So this Raiders team looked like they were kind of starting to figure shit out and get things together, and then they go out last week and spoil it. They lose to the fucking Rams.
Yeah, lose to the Rams and Baker Mayfield on a 98-yard drive with 90 seconds and no timeouts.
And then 2 days of preparation at most. No practicing. So pretty neat.
Yeah, this is pretty neat.
Yeah, it's pretty neat. Look, the Raiders, they're probably getting Darren Waller back, I believe. And Hunter Renfrow, I believe, also was expected to make his return. At least they're being activated from IR. That adds a little bit more offensive firepower there for crybaby Derek Carr. Josh Jacobs has a hurt finger. I don't know if that'll matter because he's expected to play. I don't like this game either, man. I really don't. Sucks fat dicks.
What I don't like more in this game than just watching these two teams is watching a young quarterback that I feel like has some potential, have plays fed into him by a defensive coordinator who then just continually falls into a pattern, runs the exact same thing, and then your incredibly young quarterback, second-year quarterback, is screaming at you on almost a weekly basis.
It's 2 weeks in a row now. Yeah.
To stop fucking doing whatever it is you're doing.
And
I'm surprised we're not seeing some Willie Beeman type shit where he's just like, know what? Fuck that play. We're running this fucking play.
I don't think Mac Jones has the moxie, the balls for that, to be honest. But
it will never happen. But
talking with Pat K today, who friend of the show, big time Patriots fan. He's like this
Raiders fan. Oh no, Pat. I'm sorry. I was thinking of
he's a Patriots fan. And I was
thinking Baird.
He's talking about how part of the issue is that Patricia is getting into plays real late too.
Yeah. So he doesn't have time to check out of it, even if he doesn't like it.
A lot of shitty screenplays, a lot of getting the plays in late. Ramondre Stevenson, is he playing this game? I don't know.
I don't know. I'm not sure.
I mean, that's definitely a big impact because he's probably their best player on the offense. He is questionable as of today with a ankle injury, as is Damian Harris. He practiced in limited fashion this week, and I am not sure if Ramondre practiced at all. Devontae Parker is out. Isaiah Wynn is out. Jalen Mills, cornerback, he is out. So you got some injuries there on that Patriots team that does actually make me think, because I was just going to take the Patriots plus the points there, but fuck it. I'm going Raiders money line because I don't know what else to do here. They got better offensive players, and maybe McDaniels just knows how to get at Belichick or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm going Raiders money line with you because the injuries that you just mentioned. Outside of that, I was seriously considering just flipping a fucking coin. Because this is another game that's just absolute dog shit. That neither one of these teams are any good. It's pretty neat. So Carlton Kid, I'm going to be there tomorrow with my go wherever the fuck I want wristband while I'm selling my 50-50 raffle tickets. Yeah, that game was great. I stayed there, watched the game with him, went into overtime, drove him home with his buddy, had a couple drinks. It was a good time. I don't know how much fun tomorrow is going to be, but we will see. I know what game is not going to be fun to watch, and it's the one we just picked. That fucking Raiders team is... I don't understand how you can blow that many leads. It blows my fucking mind. But at the same time, I don't understand how you are the greatest head coach in NFL history, and you make the decision to make Matt Patricia your fucking offensive coordinator.
Yeah, that's the ultimate failure this year. I feel like the Patriots need to wheel and deal somehow to just send over like an extra $10-20 million to
the Raiders
to get McDaniels back. Like they could probably figure out some way to do a trade or something. Yeah. I don't know. That's the only smart move for them at this point.
We'll give you a 7th round pick and $10 million in cash, and you send us back a fucking 4th. The Raiders would jump at that.
And a coach. You can trade coaches.
Oh yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. You give us McDaniels. So we're going to give it McDaniels in a 4th, and we're going to get $10 million in a 7th. Yeah. I think the Raiders would jump at that because they want to get rid of McDaniels anyway and can't pay a new guy. That solves that entire fucking problem, and all it costs you is a 4th for a 7th.
Yeah, and whatever his contract is. Honestly, I don't know how much they paid him. I don't remember anymore. Too much.
But if you trade him, you trade the contract too. So now the fucking Patriots are on the hook for it. So if you just fucking fire him and release him, now you're on the hook for that. If you trade him, you don't got to pay that goddamn salary anymore.
That's true. All right. Next up, we have the Titans and the Chargers being played in Inglewood, California. The Chargers are favored -3, over under of 46.5. So Titans have lost 3 straight, and they've been allowing an average of 30 points per game in that streak. Also, Derrick Henry has looked meh. He had a decent game last week, but in general, meh. Derrick Henry does have the 2nd most rushing yards in the NFL entering the week at 1,199. He's still having himself a pretty good year. And the Chargers have given up the most yards allowed per rush in a single season in the Super Bowl era as of this point at 5.4 yards per rush. You could just run every play, every game, control the clock, and you're probably going to end up winning against that defense. But that being said, the Chargers have actually done a little bit better with the run recently. I think there's a possibility that Bosa could be coming back. I'm going to look that up here real quick. But last week, the Chargers offense actually started to jump off the page a little bit more. They let Herbert pass down the field. It was nice.
He actually, used that big arm and stretched the field a little bit. They are also using their running backs in a fashion that I think is more conducive to their skill sets. I really like Austin Eckler. Austin Eckler is a stud. Austin Eckler is not a guy I want to carry the ball 18 to 20 times a game in between the tackles. Austin Eckler is a guy that I want to see on tosses, outside stretches, play action with a toss check down to him, screens. There are so many ways to get him involved in your offense that I felt like they were kind of getting away from for a while because Austin Eckler was racking up a ton of carries. And now they started to incorporate some more backs and do some more things. If they can get is Mike Williams back this week?
Not sure on that one either. I think he was back last week, technically.
Technically, but I don't think he played very much at all, did he?
I don't,
because Keenan Allen was the big reason that they were able to, do some interesting things in the passing game.
I'll be able to tell you in just a second.
Is he on your fantasy bench?
Nope, he was on the team I played last week's bench.
Ah. But I like the Chargers in this game. I think that they are starting to kind of figure out what they need to do. And we're not seeing so much of the excessive use of analytics.
Mike Williams did play last week. He had himself a hell of a game. 6 for 6, 116 yards, and 1 touchdown.
Okay, so Mike Williams, that's probably why they're able to push the ball down the field and stretch the field. When you have Mike Williams, you have the ability to do that. They're I think a better team than the Titans. I know they give up a lot of yards per carry, but Derrick Henry doesn't necessarily generate a lot of yards per carry. Derrick Henry has to have 30 carries to wear you the fuck down. Do I think that he's just magically going to be like, oh, okay, this team's not very good at stopping the run and yards per carry, so now I'm going to be good? No, I don't think that that's who he is. I think this Titans team is kind of scuffling, and I feel like there's been some infighting because there's been some contract and some conversations around their head coach about Mike Vrabel possibly being some targets for other teams or universities to go and be their head coach, specifically the Ohio State University. If for some reason they were to let go of Ryan Day for another tragic performance in the playoffs, or if we were to lose to Michigan again for some reason. So I don't know that everything is super sound and cohesive inside the locker room, in the front office, and the coaching staff. I like what Herbert did last week. I think they are a better team. I'm going with the Chargers, but I'm going on the money line. I am not fucking laying the points because there is a complete possibility that they will do something boneheaded in terms of analytical decisions that we've seen them do in the past.
Yeah, and I'm going the same route. Chargers money line. Bosa will not be back. He was not activated off the IR this week. They're expecting very possible next week, which it would be a pretty big pickup for him this week. But if he's not ready, he's not ready. I like this Chargers team better. I do think that they'll win. It's completely possible this could be closer, and I think it is a Derrick Henry situation. If Derrick Henry really gets rolling and takes control of that game, that's going to make this much more of a grind fest. So I do think the Chargers win. I'll take them on the money line. All right. Next up, we have the Bengals and the Buccaneers. This is the first meeting ever between Joe Burrow and Tom Brady, and maybe the last one ever. This is being played in Tampa. Line is Cincinnati minus 3.5. Over under of 45. Cincinnati is 10-1 against the spread in their past 11 games. On the flip side, Tampa Bay is 9-1 against the spread in their last 11 games. This is an easy one for me. Cincinnati minus 3.5. I'll take that all day. I think the Buccaneers are kind of garbage, and Cincinnati has been rolling. They've been looking real good. So I'm going to go ahead and just get this one out of the way. Cincinnati minus the points.
Yeah, I'm following suit. Bengals minus 3.5. They're a far better team, and the Bucs are not good. They can't score, and I know the Bengals can, especially since they should be getting T. Higgins back, who should be ready to go this week and not play one fucking play and then go out of the game.
Yeah. All right. Last up for our Sunday games, their Sunday night game is actually an interesting one, especially for playoff implications. You have the Giants at 7-5-1 playing the Commanders at 7-5-1. They both have a tie. Why do they have a tie? Because they tied each other earlier this year. And it was a couple missed field goals away from being a win for one of them. The line is Washington minus 5, an over-under of 40.5 being played in Maryland. The only other stats really that I have for this is that the Giants are 1-4-1 in their past 6 games. Washington is 6-1-1 in their past 8 games. Washington has been playing a lot better towards the second half of the year. The Giants, after starting off really good, have slowed down a lot. We kind of saw that cross in that tie game between the two of them. And I think now with Washington playing at home, that'll be enough for them to get themselves over the hump. A little bit of luster of Daniel Jones is starting to wear off a little bit. I think Dable is falling victim to the talent on his team now. They were playing way above their talent level before, and now they are not. I'm taking the Commanders to win this game. I'm not taking the 5 points off, though. I'm just taking the money line for the Commanders because this is a divisional game. It could very well be closer. Like I said, there's definitely playoff implications here because both teams have the same record in the same division. They're fighting for a wild card spot. So I'm going to go with the Commies money line on this one.
For all the same reasons that you just said, I'm also taking Commanders money line. And the difference in this game will be Taylor Heineke, I think, can elevate, whereas Daniel Jones has regressed back to his mean.
Yeah. All right. Well, that takes us to Monday night.
All right.
In Green Bay, we have the Packers playing the Rams. Baker Mayfield-led Rams team.
Man, we got some really good fucking games this week.
Yep. I like Saturday's games better. The line is Green Bay -7, over under of 39.5. You have a technically not eliminated Packers team, but they are.
Yeah.
And a definitely eliminated Rams team. Do you think that we'll see any sort of magic from Baker again now with a full week of practice under his belt?
Baker will start. Do I think we will see any magic? I don't know. I don't think so. Maybe. I mean, Baker has played in Green Bay before, had a chance to win, should have won that game when he was with the Browns playing up in Green Bay. But the Rams are really fucking bad. They're really bad. They were given a gift last week by a Raiders team who was also really bad and historically bad at blowing leads. But, I mean, I know this is not the same Aaron Rodgers-led team that we talked about all these years, this fucking at least the past decade. But it's Green Bay. It's Aaron Rodgers. It's Lambeau. It's December. The Packers are going to win this fucking game. They're not going to win by 7. And if they do, I mean, Quee gives a fuck. Like, it makes no difference. They're going to win. And one of the this is a game when the NFL said that there was going to be a possibility to flex games out of fucking Monday Night Football. These are the games that we need to flex out of Monday Night Football. So this is not the product that the entire world is seeing on prime time. This game is going to suck. The Packers are going to win unless Baker finds a way to just pull a rabbit out of his hat again with Sean McVay coaching him up all the way until the fucking headset turns off.
Yeah. I'm going to take the Rams plus the points because fuck the fucking Packers. There's no reason why the Packers shouldn't win this game. The Rams are really bad. The Packers are really bad, but the Rams are really bad. Aaron Donald has not practiced this week still as of today, but there's a lot of time between now and Monday. The Packers are expecting Donald to go against them, so they have been practicing as if they're going to be playing against Aaron Donald. That's a big difference maker. That Packers offensive line has been pretty rough this year. I'm hoping for Donald to go out there and put Rodgers through the fucking dirt, that cold, icy turf. It's expected to be 24 degrees out there in Lambeau, so nice and frigid. If the Rams are able to go out and put a clamp on Christian Watson, who's been a deep threat, and that's about it, then it takes away a majority of the offense that the Packers have. I don't think that the Rams have a whole lot on offense or defense, but, you know, who knows? I think it'll be a lower scoring game. I'd love to see the Rams win this one. It'll be a moral victory for me. And that's pretty much all I got to say about it. So I'll take the Rams plus the points, just expecting to lose that one, but I'll be very happy on Monday night if I get that pick right.
Okay. Well, that does it, right?
That does it.
All right. So I've been told by producer Amber that we need to do a rundown of these things at the end of the show. That way she can cut clips. That way people can consume the picks as they want rather than going through for each and everything. So I'm going to pull that up right now. And here we go. So let's slide this over just a bit. All right, so picks for the week. We both agree on the Vikings, Ravens +3 for me. You got Browns on the money line. I'm good with both of those happening. So that'd be nice. Bills, I'm going the money line. You're laying the points there. Eagles for me. Chicago plus the points for you. Big spread. You think it possibly a trap game. I'm going Saints money line. You're taking Atlanta plus the points. This is the first game for Desmond Ridder in the start of his career. I think it's going to be tough going into New Orleans. We're both on the Lions. They are playing really fucking well right now. Both
and they're
on
going
the
against
Panthers.
Zach Wilson.
Yeah, and they're going against Zach Wilson on the Lions. So Lions for sure. Panthers money line. We like the way that team is playing and the way that that coaching staff is getting those guys going. Cowboys, I think they're going to bounce back. They're going to win. They won last week. That was kind of a kick in the dick last week, almost losing to the Texans. Jags are playing better, though. That's why you're going +4. Chiefs money line. That's a slam dunk for the week. Cardinals, this game sucks no matter which side you're choosing, but we're taking Colt McCoy over Brett Ripien in the battle of the shitty quarterbacks between Cardinals and the Broncos. We're both riding the Raiders as well. Why? I'm not 100% sure, but the offense over there for New England's not great. So that's another game that's tough.
It's injuries for me.
Yeah, injuries is going to be a big one. Chargers, money line. Bengals, minus the 3.5 going against a Tom Brady-led Buccaneers that cannot fucking score. Commanders, we're both on that as well because we think that they are just starting to catch their stride. I think the quarterback play is going to be a difference. Heineke over Danny Dimes. And then final game of the week, Packers money line for me, December, Lambeau. Give me the Packers. You're taking the Rams to cover. I don't think you're expecting them to win. And this is just a spiteful pick for you on the Rams +7.
I got to stick with the brand, man. Fuck them Packers. Fuck Rodgers. Fuck Brett Favre.
Yeah, well, I think everybody can get on fuck Brett Favre train.
Everyone can get on my train. Fuck the Packers. Fuck Rodgers. Fuck Brett Favre.
All right. So there it is. Those are all of our picks. I think Amber is going to go ahead and put together a little clip for that as well. But you got anything else before we get the hell out of here, man?
No, I'm good to go, man. My dogs are getting pissed sitting outside, so I got to go get them.
All right. Well, guys, we appreciate you. This is the Lineman Lounge. I'm Sleeveless Mike. The man to my right is Thick Evo. You can catch us every week. Typically, we are on the weekends. We had a special Friday night show this Friday. But if you want to listen to the show, go anywhere that you can consume your podcasts, okay? I don't care what platform you choose. We are there. If you want to look at these beautiful faces, go over to the YouTube, check us out, like, subscribe, all that stuff. If you want to interact with your boys that you see right here, go check out the Facebook group. That thing is popping all the time. Constant shit coming in there. Also, the Twitter is growing, getting some more engagement there. Go check out the Twitter while Twitter is still a fucking thing. And then TikTok, we're still there. Also, maybe check out the TikTok while TikTok is still a thing. And then also Instagram. But regardless, guys, we're not going anywhere. We will see you guys next week, whether here or if you guys are just listening. We appreciate you. We love you. We're going to get the fuck out of here. See?
Welcome to the Lineman Lounge, hosted by Mike and Evo. Calling their shots and being outlandish.
Breaking news from the Lineman Lounge. My fantasy football team just took a huge fucking hit. And that also makes it even more likely that the Raiders are going to beat the Ravens on Monday night. Le'Veon Bell is about to be your starter. Latavius Murray is going to go there as well. Jesus, fuck my ass.
Get ready for the thickest podcast in the game. Coming to you from Hangar 6, where sleeves are optional. Strap in.